All right, so that's important for how the election laws are covered. One thing that we should keep in mind is that there's been lawsuits against all this stuff. So Greens have worked, even with libertarians sometimes. Sometimes the Greens have filed their own lawsuits. But we filed lawsuits to lower signature counts and to make ballot access more equitable. And we've won some of those cases. So in some states, requirements are lower because Greens have been fighting. So, you know, again, it's not a place for despair. It's we keep up the good fight, right? So we have lower requirements in Pennsylvania now for some offices because of past rulings. And so, you know, we're keeping it up. One thing to keep in mind is that the U.S. Supreme Court in 1975 issued a ruling in McIntyre versus Ohio that said that canvassing and distributing political literature and you know, basically talking to people about politics, including getting people to sign your petition and all, is protected First Amendment free speech. So it's very important to keep that in mind that when we're working on ballot access, it is protected First Amendment speech. So you have a right, a U.S. Supreme Court constitutional right to talk to people about the Green Party and to ask people to sign your petition and things. And you don't necessarily need a permit or to ask permission or anything like that in order to do it. You can just ask your neighbors. You can go and knock their doors and say, "Hey, I want to talk to you about the Green Party, and you know, would you sign a petition?" And maybe that's not the best way to do it. We'll talk about that in a moment. But you do have a right to do this petitioning, and a lot of folks maybe don't know that that's the case. So you have a right to canvass and do this, and of course, you know, you have to make sure that you're doing it right. So, but we'll talk more about that as we get there. The main thing is that you have a right to to petition in public, right, in any public space, but you can't go into private spaces. So you can't walk into businesses or something like that and ask people to sign. You would need permission first in that scenario. But if you're in a public space, if you're on a sidewalk or in a park or something like that, you know, go for it. And even going door to door is totally fine as long as they don't have a posted sign saying that they don't, you know, no canvassing or whatever it is.